This is the latest Viagra Boys album. I unfortunately haven't heard their debut yet, but I did hear Welfare Jazz, which came out in 2020. I thought it was okay at the time, but it was really one of those albums that I just completely forgot about within like the next couple of weeks. I genuinely, I'm not trying to be a little dick here, a little bitch, but can't remember anything about that album. I think my 6 out of 10 was generous at the time. I don't know, man. It just left my mind. It just left my brain. It just left my memory. I don't know, man. It just didn't stick with me. So I was not sure what to expect with Cave World going into it. Obviously, I know the kind of foundations of what this band aims for with their music and the kind of music that they make. But yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what to think. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it, considering I just don't really have much of an attachment to their last one. But going into it, I will say I wasn't quite expecting some of the dance punk fusions that come through. And I will say that these tracks, for sure, are not going to leave my brain anytime soon, because this album has way more character to it than their previous one and just has way more of an enjoyability factor to it. I'm having a lot of fun with these tracks this time around, which is something I couldn't say about Welfare Jazz. Cave World has quite a lot of variety to it, and I feel as though this album just seems to be the band kind of going into a lane that suits them a little bit more. I think the bombast to the opening track just instantly hooks you in with the trumpets and all the kinds of bizarre instruments that are going off in the background that just give this track just such a weird character to it, but it works so well. They add to the manicness with the vocals. The hook, I think, is fantastic, where he's like, I used to be a baby, now I'm just a criminal. I think that hook is really, really good and sticks with you. Just a night and day difference, honestly, to what they were doing before. I feel like the way that they've just come out of their shell is just so great to see. And of course, Troglodyte, one of the highlights of the album for sure, one of the better rock tracks I've heard all year, caters to me perfectly, because this track, especially with the vocals, gives me such a drones vibe, or maybe even some Tropical Fuck Storm too. Probably more so the drones, because obviously they went on for a much longer period of time, and with the kind of like angry edge to the voice, calling someone a troglodyte. Gareth Lydiard would definitely say something like this on an album. It has got him written all over it, especially when you consider how political their music is. You could definitely imagine Gareth Lydiard drunkenly throwing his Stella Artois in the air, calling the Australian Prime Minister a troglodyte or something like that. This track just embodies that so well, and the dance punk instrumental is so fun, man. Oh my god, this is one of the best instrumentals on the whole album. Oh, you know I'm a sucker for some of that dance punk, and I wish more bands at the moment were bringing that to the forefront of rock music, because I think that was a style of music that really shouldn't have just been a 2000s thing. It should have carried on for way longer. I know it was a bit earlier than the 2000s too, and I know there are some bands that are doing it at the minute as well, but I just want to hear more of it because it sounds so good, especially when it's done like this. Ain't No Thief as well is another fantastic rocker. It's got that dance edge to it while also being probably the most aggressive sounding song on the whole album. It has that kind of like sort of like cutting edge feel to it, like a Daughters song, you know, where Daughters just kind of rip your ears apart with their music. This track has that feel to it as well. Thinking of a song like The Reason They Hate Me, I feel like this track has the foundations of that. The Cognitive Trade is a really good one as well, quite a playful instrumental, reminded me quite a bit of TV on the Radio more so than anything else. But again, just showing a bit of variety. This one doesn't quite sound like some of the sort of like in your face moments, particularly like the opening track or something like that. It's just a bit more subtle, but it's done really well. I like how the vocalist shifts the tone completely for a song like Punk Rock Loser, which totally fits, you know, the theme of the track. He really is sounding a bit more of like a loser type character. It works really well. So yeah, so much to praise about this album. It's going so well, really up until about Big Boy for me. I feel like that first crop of tracks is on its way to being like one of the best rock albums of the year. But once you hit Big Boy, I just feel like the album just stumbles and loses its focus a little bit. And I get the sarcastic nature of this track. I totally understand that it's not to be taken seriously, but I just feel like it doesn't land that well, or could have landed a bit better if maybe some of the one-liners were a bit funnier than they are. You know, the big boy needing a big girl sort of thing, just well, I thought that was a bit cringe. And then Jason Williamson comes through, and yeah, I feel like 2015 Ryan would have absolutely loved this, because I really used to love Sleaford Mods, but as time's gone on, I've just started to find his voice a bit annoying, and he comes across as a bit obnoxious, and he's always got something negative to say. So yeah, I feel like his tone doesn't really match some of the jokey lines that he throws out. I just feel like it could have been a lot funnier than it was. I feel like another artist or another band handling a song like this could have really made it so funny, but unfortunately I don't think it actually lands as well as it could have. The idea's there, the execution, not entirely sure either really, but yeah, then ADD. I feel like we're hitting some Idols territory with the hook on this one, where they're just literally saying the same thing over and over again, like you would hear on an Idols song, you know, equality, equality. Yeah, you know, just without actually saying anything noteworthy. I feel like this track's similar to that. You know, just throw, you know, ADD out with like any other mental health thing, and it would just kind of be as reductive as this. Just doesn't really say much. The verses say a bit more, but yeah, not too keen on this one, man. I feel like compared to the other tracks as well that go for a bit of a dancier, fun edge, or a bit more of an aggressive, you know, in your face tone, this one doesn't land in either category, and just doesn't land that well either. We've got Return to Monkey for the final track. Another one where I feel like the humour of it could have been a lot funnier and it could have been sharper, but the way that the track is recorded, the instrumental swallows up the vocals quite greatly, and you're kind of having to tune into a lot of what he's saying, and he's, you know, talking all kinds of shit about quitting your job and leaving society and going and being a monkey. It's all incredibly absurd, but I feel like, again, it could have been executed better, where it just ends up being really funny and stupid and ridiculously over the top. But again, similarly to Big Boy, I do quite like the, you know, the idea of the track, just not entirely sure the execution is there. And then the length of this one too, runs on for so long. But yeah, it's a good album. It's a good album. It's a massive improvement. Like I say, Welfare Jazz just left my brain quicker than a troglodyte. I don't know, I couldn't think of anything really, but yeah, it didn't really stick with me at all. But this one has way more personality to it. It is definitely better, and a highlight for rock music for the year, to be honest. I'm really enjoying a lot of these tracks. I feel like particularly like the first track, Troglodyte, are so good to listen to. I'm surprised, but I'm happily surprised too. 7 out of 10 from me. That is my review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you think of this album, if you agree with me or disagree with me. Why do you? What's your favourite track? What should I review next? Have a good day, and goodbye.